Georgia Tech's Inventure Prize. If you want to shape the world through invention, you can do that. It's not philosophers or politicians, but critical thinkers who see a problem, wrestle it to the ground, and hammer punch it with their brains. And I'm proud to say, you can do that. We invent because we don't just see the future, we are the future. And if we are...
Hi, sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. What are you doing?
I'm just practicing for,
Okay, right.
show.
But I'm actually hosting the show, right?
You're hosting the show.
Yeah.
Of course you're hosting the show. I'm sorry. I guess I just, I saw the cameras and there was no one around.
Oh, that's totally my fault. I was walking into the theater and I accidentally turned sideways and got stuck in the door.
Yeah.
I had lunch at the varsity.
Oh. so you don't need a host then?
No, I'm all good. Thanks.
I'll just.
Yeah. Wait. I could still use an announcer. What do you say?
I can do that!
Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming.
Live from the campus of the Georgia Institute of Technology, it's the 2014 Georgia Tech Inventure Prize. Join us as the nation's finest students unveil the future and compete to win $35,000 in prizes and patents. I'm your announcer, Nick Selby. Now please welcome your host, Emmy Award winner, Faith Salie.
What a warm welcome from Nick and from you, and welcome to the 2014 Georgia Tech Inventure Prize. I am thrilled to be hosting this wonderful event. Please remember that the camera adds 10 pounds, or maybe 20. In any case, we have an amazing show for you tonight. We've got 6 teams whittled down from 500 plus students who originally signed up for this competition last fall. So over the course of the evening, you'll get to see each of them unveil their potentially world-changing ideas, culminating in a first-place winner, a second-place winner, and even a People's Choice Award. And if that's not enough to make you stick around, there's roughly a 50-50 chance that I will be giving birth before our show is over. So you don't want to miss that. Now, to give you more details on that People's Choice Award I mentioned, along with a few other tidbits, I'd like to introduce you to one of my cohorts this evening. She's a beautiful Georgia Tech graduate and a former professor at this fine institution. Please welcome back the lovely Dr. Bahara Azizi.
With you, hosting this show for the second year in a row. And as you've mentioned, we've got some fantastic prizes that will be awarded to our top finishers tonight. In addition to a patent, the value of which knows no limits, our first place winners tonight will receive $20,000. And they'll also have the chance to participate in Flashpoint at Georgia Tech, where they will receive an investment in helping develop a successful startup. Our runners-up tonight will also get a patent as well as $10,000 to put towards their invention. Of course, no matter who wins first and second place, all of tonight's finalists are eligible to win our People's Choice Award. That's where you at home will play a very important role. After the last team has presented their invention to the judges, the voting will open. You can vote by texting your favorite team's name to 22333, or if you prefer, you can vote online at pollev.com/inventure. The key to remember is that you can only vote once on one device, and there's a limited time for voting, so vote fast. I'll remind you of those team names at the end of this show, so make sure you stand put and make sure to get them right. But for right now, I'll hand things back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Bahara. Now, our esteemed judges are about to take their seats, and we'll meet them in a few minutes. But right now, we want to get straight to the reason we're all here, which is to steal the rest of the teas from Tech Tower. Are you with me? No. No, it's time for our first finalist of the evening. So let me introduce you to a team that's already got my attention, and you will understand why when you watch this.
Hi, I'm Charles Lemons.
I'm James Hess.
I'm Sean Yolander.
I'm Zachary Cherney, and we're Team Upsidaisy. Over 35 million Americans live in apartments. Many apartments don't have elevators, so how do you get up to that third floor walk-up or garden apartment that you have with a young child? There's no safe way of doing it now, and that's where Upsidaisy comes in.
One challenge that we faced was that, like many college students, we don't have babies, so we had to go find our user group and make sure that we're addressing a problem that needs fixing.
We sent out a survey on 2 prominent parenting forums asking, would parents feel safe using our stroller up and down stairs? What kind of price point are we looking for? And what features do parents want? And took that into consideration while building our design.
It's really been just a work in progress the entire time, trying things on the back, on the bottom, just to see what feels natural, and then what actually works. Currently, there's nothing on the market like Upsidaisy. This is a product that touches everyone, especially those that live in apartments.
I'm understandably intrigued. Please give it up for Team Upsidaisy.
Hi, I'm Zach, and we're Team Upsidaisy. We're excited to be here today because it is awesome knowing that we've invented something that people all around the world want, and we want to be able to get them to use it. Currently, going up and down stairs with a stroller, can we roll that first video, please? Currently, going up and down stairs with a stroller is extremely unsafe. No parent wants to have to go through that. But unfortunately, a study done by the American Pediatrics Association, every hour a child is injured due to an injury related to being carried up and down stairs. And sadly, there's nothing on the market that solves this problem, until now. Upsidaisy makes going up and down stairs with a stroller a breeze, and it can be manufactured for about $15. Can we also roll that next video? So as you can see, Upsidaisy is an electrically powered dual tread stroller attachment that allows parents to quickly, easily, and most importantly, safely go up and down stairs with a stroller. All you have to do is approach a set of stairs and lock down the tread mechanism, as Charles will show you. Boom, and you're ready to go. Now, we took our idea to parents all over the world and asked them, how do you feel about carrying your stroller up downstairs? And overwhelmingly, we found 75% of parents struggle getting their current stroller up and downstairs. That's why we have Upsidaisy, to make it so that no parent has to struggle again and make their lives just a little bit easier. And we've even had parents come up and ask, where can I buy this thing? I need this today. I've had kids expecting in months. But we recognize that in the child care industry, brand recognition is pretty much everything. And that's why we've decided that licensing our product is the best way to get Upsidaisy into those parents' hands. And we've also been in discussions with stroller manufacturers and companies. These experts are excited to see Upsidaisy. In fact, the Senior Director of Research and Development from Graco, one of the world's leading stroller manufacturers, met with us to talk about Upsidaisy and its potential on the market. They've even asked us to come back to their offices so they can continue to work on Upsidaisy. Using the money that we could win from the Adventure Prize, we would follow up on the advice that we received from these professionals. That includes creating a second prototype with better materials that would more accurately reflect what would be on the market shelf, as well as doing detailed consumer analysis to make sure that the ergonomics of Upsidaisy fits families of all shapes and sizes. So, now that you don't have to worry about taking a stroller up and down stairs ever again, there's only one question you have to ask yourself. Would you rather go Oopsidaisy or Upsidaisy?
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. I have one question. Where can I buy this thing? I need this thing today. Okay, I promise that we will spend a few minutes getting to know our wonderful judges in just a minute. But for now, I'll just quickly tell you that they are all graduates of this fine institution. Dr. Baruz Abdi, Dr. Deborah Kilpatrick, and Mr. Guy Primus. I think I just made you a PhD.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you're a mister, but you know, if you want to win, call him doctor.
It's on TV.
There you go.
Done.
I said it. But if it's on TV, believe it. But there is no time to waste because these students are ready to answer the tough questions, and you are the people who are most qualified to ask them. So who's going to start?
I'll start off. So I have a daughter who turns 1 tomorrow and also lived on the 4th floor walk-up in Brooklyn. So I really appreciate the product and the innovation. My question looking at it is, how easy is it and will it be to get into an SUV or a Prius or any other vehicle?
So currently it folds with, there's 5 main types of folding that strollers use. And it will fold with one of the types, and we're currently working on ways to make it fold with the other 4.
And how much does it weigh approximately?
This model right here weighs 20 pounds, but if we get the funding to use proper materials, we can get it down to under 10.
Great, thank you.
So first of all, that stroller falling down the stairs takes me back many years. So hopefully my 24-year-old daughter doesn't remember, but does explain a lot of things. So is there a motor? Is that a battery that comes into the picture? And if so, how long does it last?
Yes, there is a 24-volt battery that powers a 24-volt motor.
And how long does it take to charge it up?
Charging up, I don't know, but it lasts about an hour of continuous use.
Lasts about an hour.
Dr. Kilpatrick?
So you got a lot of moving parts on that thing, right? And it looks like sort of a Swiss watch of baby strollers, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but what it raises for me is the kinds of failure modes that you may be introducing simply by the number of moving parts. And so if you haven't done a formal failure modes and effects analysis, have you thought about the most serious failure modes you have to design against, given that it's a pediatric application, and how that might affect your next generation design, which you mentioned would involve new materials also?
Yes, there's actually several standards, one of them being ASTM, American Standards of Testing Materials, and UL certification that all child care products have to do. The main failure modes that we're concerned on are actually the parents because we've built in safety factors. Those include putting bags like diaper bags on the back, but we've already designed training wheels similar to those that go on the back of wheelchairs to prevent it from tipping back in the event that they put a 30-pound diaper bag on the back.
Wow, that's a lot of diaper.
Have you guys considered other applications? I mean, again, I lived in Brooklyn, and it was a big hassle carrying anything up. The hottest day in New York ever, I carried a 200-pound air conditioner up the stairs. Probably not going to carry 200 pounds.
200-pound baby. I was
no,
like,
no,
wow. What'd you feed that
not
kid?
quite. But I mean, have you considered other applications for postal carriers or that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Actually, we were just backstage, and one of the stage guys was like, man, we could have used this yesterday as a push cart to help getting, because Georgia Tech doesn't have ramps back there to get stuff onto backstage. So we're looking at like push carts, maybe even like wheelchairs. Definitely there are other markets we're considering.
In terms of taking it to the market, obviously you're dealing with people's safety and liabilities and all that. When you talk with Graco, did those discussions come up, how they would address that working with you? And can you shed some more light on that?
Sure. I mean, basically what they said is, with any product with babies, you have to go even beyond regulation. So we're looking to make sure this thing, we're examining many failure modes to try to make sure it absolutely is safer than carrying a baby up and down stairs. But as far as like any specifics, I'm willing to, yeah.
Right, that's good.
I want to commend you because I have to say, when I was an undergraduate, the only time I ever thought about babies was making sure that I wasn't going to have one. And you are meaningfully concerned about the health of babies and parents. So truly, I commend you for that. Thank you, Team Upsy-Daisy. We are off to a very nice start this evening, but we aren't done with Team Upsy-Daisy just yet. Bahara is standing by with someone who has a little more information about the origin of this very clever invention. Bahara, please tell us who is joining you.
Hi, Faith. I'm actually here with Charles C.'s mom, Janet, who's going to tell us a little bit about where did this inspiration come from? You must have had a number of kids in strollers, and she must have seen you do this.
We did. Actually, Charles C. is the oldest girl of 4. So her growing up years were spent either pushing a stroller, carrying a stroller, or maybe rescuing a stroller. Just if you get away.
So she was tired of it, then hence the invention.
I think so. I think our biggest trip to the zoo consisted of 4 strollers, probably 3 backpacks, and I don't know how many bottles.
See, all these great inventions start right at home. So are you really proud of your daughter tonight, seeing it all come together?
Yes. Her and her dad and I are so proud. We're just, we can't believe it. We're just amazed that she's come this far.
And they must have worked really hard, right?
They did. They did. They put in countless hours. They brought it from just a thought to making it real, and to see it come to that was just unbelievable as a parent, to see her idea come to life.
So anything go wrong that you want to tell us about?
Oh, you know, just a few things. You saw the baby stroller fall down, and we all, you know, we maybe caught the lab on fire maybe once. But other than that,
fire?
I think so. Just a small one, though.
Oh, well, it's typical. It's Georgia Tech. This stuff happens.
It's okay.
Exactly. I know. All for the sake of the invention. All right, so Janet agrees that Team Upsadaisy should win. If you agree as well, make sure, look at their beautiful sign here, to text Upsadaisy to 22333. Back to you, Faith.
Thank you, Bahara. I briefly introduced our judges just a few minutes ago, but let's take some time now to learn a little bit more about the folks most qualified to give our contestants a run for the money. So first, we have a returning judge who dazzles us as much with his wit as he does with his brilliance. He is the CEO and president of InvenSense, and he's all the way from California. So please welcome Behrouz Abdi. Can you tell us, Behrouz, a little bit more about InvenSense?
Sure. InvenSense is in the motion sensing chip and software business. Our chips go in about 20 to 30% of all the cell phones out there. When you're playing games, as you move your phone and the object or anything that moves on the phone, on the graphics, is really related to our chip. And that's a technology that we built about 10 years ago, and our company went public in 2012. And been growing at about 20–30% every year.
In my imagination, InvenSense has a room full of ninjas whose motions you're tracking all the time just to get better and better.
Absolutely, I'm the head ninja.
Oh, good.
You know, but other than the back problem, you know, it's been going really well.
That's what your PhD is in, right?
Exactly.
Ninjahood.
Well, thank you for the honorary doctorate.
You're
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
And thank you for returning.
I don't know if Dr. Peterson's watching this.
Next up, we are happy to have another returning judge, although we missed her last year. This is actually her 3rd Inventure Prize, and she currently serves on the advisory boards for Georgia Tech and the College of Engineering, and was recently named to the Silicon Valley Business Journal's list of most influential women. Please welcome Dr. Deborah Kilpatrick. Deborah, what have you been doing since we last saw you?
Well, as you mentioned, I do stay quite involved at Georgia Tech with a number of activities. Go Jackets. I was at the Syracuse game. We won. That was really fun. Yay. And in all my spare time, aside from CardioDX, I'm extremely involved in an organization that I founded called MedTech Vision and MedTech Women. And what we do is each year in Silicon Valley, we host a conference focused on gathering all the stakeholders, primarily in the U.S. healthcare system, but we also have an emerging markets focus as well, to get together and talk about the issues that face the medtech sector, which in our definition is medical devices and diagnostics, moving forward, with the one key distinction that everybody on the podium is a woman leader somewhere in the world focused on medtech issues or medtech innovations. And so that takes up an increasing amount of my time outside of CardioDX, and it's something that my colleagues and I are really proud about.
I still hear a little bit of a Southern accent that you've kept.
That's right.
So do you use y'all when you're speaking to groups of very important doctors, I hope?
I do.
Good.
You know why? Because they always remember the woman in the room with the gray hair, the glasses, and the y'all.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us again this year.
My pleasure.
And last, but certainly not least, we have a newcomer to our panel, but not a newcomer to Georgia Tech. He received both his bachelor's and master's degrees in industrial engineering here. Since then, he's accomplished quite a bit, most recently co-founding the Core Venture Studio, and prior to that, serving as COO of Overbrook Entertainment, which is Will Smith's production company. Give it up for Mr. Guy Primus.
Thank you, thank you.
How does it feel to be back at Georgia Tech?
Well, I guess I'll say it like my son Grant would say it, this place is awesome. I'm actually thinking about coming back here to, maybe teach or get my PhD so I can use the Invention Studio, which is unbelievable. I'm sure a lot of the students in the audience have used it. It's a much different place than when I was here. A lot smarter kids and just a fantastic learning environment.
Now, I have to ask, obviously, Guy Primus is not your real name, it's your superhero name. So, do you want to share your real name with us tonight?
Well, no, my superhero name is Optimus Primus.
Oh, okay,
yeah, so.
okay. Okay.
That's also my Twitter handle. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Guy Primus. All right. A big thanks to you and to all of our judges for joining us on this year's show. We appreciate your sharing your expertise as our finalists bring the best of Georgia Tech's entrepreneurial spirit to our stage. Now, as you saw with our first finalists, each of our 6 teams tonight will have 3 minutes to present their invention. And after that, they will undergo extensive grilling from our panel of judges. I might pop in with a question or two. And after all 6 teams have wowed with their ideas, our judges will scurry off to a secret room located deep under Tech Tower or backstage if we're pressed for time. And they will there decide the fate of our finalists. So, getting back to the entrepreneurial spirit I mentioned a moment ago, we've got a little more of that coming to you right now. Our second team of finalists has a way of thinking on their feet, especially if your feet aren't working out as well as you'd like. Check it out.
I'm Partha Undava.
I'm Frankie Swindell.
I'm Andrew Varghese, and we are Team Better Walk.
We play basketball together on the weekends, and what we realized from playing sports is that people can get injured pretty frequently. When we got injured and spent time on crutches, we heard everybody else complaining about the same problems we were experiencing. So we realized that this was something we had to change.
You're gonna put it right there. The fundamental design of the crutch has not changed in over 5,000 years. And for those 5,000 years, it still created pain in the user's underarm and wrist. We developed about a half-dozen versions of the new crutch, and we would test them out on ourselves so that we could live a day in the life of someone that's rehabbing a lower leg injury.
I was concerned about the fact.
We've tested our product with over 50 physical therapists, orthopedic surgeons, and professors specializing in biomechanics and in assistive devices. Through this extensive process, we've gotten a ton of feedback that's helped us refine our design and really build a product that everybody can benefit from.
You heard right. Here to present an invention 5,000 years in the making, I give you Team Better Walk.
After our interviews with medical professionals and patients, we realized that everyone experiences the same problems with crutches, and that's that they get fatigued very quickly. And when they go to rest, the only place they can rest is on the underarm padding. And when that pushes up into your underarm, it can cause you pain and even nerve damage. And on top of that, when you go through the normal motion, all of the force is directed through the user's wrist. And that direction of the force can cause wrist pain and nerve damage there too. We did a little research, and we found out 18.2 million people in the US each year experience those same problems. And these people are spending over $800 million on a solution that has existed for over 5,000 years. That's ancient Egyptian times. At Better Walk, when we saw this problem, we realized there had to be a better solution, and we came up with the Better Walk crutch. The Better Walk crutch offers users forearm support so that they get fatigued less quickly. In addition, the angle of the crutch takes away direct force from the wrist to give users a better experience. And the coolest part about this crutch is the side stability piece, which gives users stability through the whole motion and allows them to rest in such a way that there's no force into an unsafe part of their body. We're beginning sales with this crutch at orthopedic surgery centers, and it's fully reimbursed.
We want to stress this isn't just an idea. Over the past year, we've put serious effort into commercializing this technology. We participated in the nation's only medical device accelerator, 0 to 510K, in the summer of 2013. Through that process, we raised $160,000 in funding. Additionally, we've put together a board of advisors of health professionals and experienced entrepreneurs to help us avoid the pitfalls that trap other startups. Additionally, and something that we're really happy about, is that we presented our crutch at the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons Conference in New Orleans this past week. And 20 of the orthopedic surgeons there wanted to buy our crutch on the spot, and 6 of them were willing to sign letters of interest to purchase our crutch. And our goal in these next few months is to raise another round of financing to meet that market demand by setting up our manufacturing, also increasing our brand awareness, and putting together a sales team to help bring this much-needed device to patients all around the world.
At Better Walk, we're focused on making the world a better place through our products, but we also have a nonprofit arm called Better Inspiration that's reaching out to show people the mental aspects of injury recovery as well. Through this arm, we're hosting a charity dinner event in Atlanta to help students overcome the obstacles of entrepreneurship, and anybody interested should check out our website, www.bwcrutches.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Team Better Walk, you also offer to bedazzle leg casts too, right? That's part of the package?
Yeah, all different colors. It's your choice.
Thank you. Nice. Glitter, whatever you want. All right, let's find out what our judges think of your Better Walk crutch. Judges, what say you?
So I'll start us off on this one. First, I want to compliment you because you may not even realize that you've done something that's actually still pretty novel, even in 2014 for medical device design. You actually clearly have taken a very specific interest in how it looks. And that is a very important aspect to consumer acceptance of new technology as more of our out-of-pocket responsibility really shifts to us as healthcare consumers in the U.S. So I don't know if you did that on purpose, but if you didn't, it's a really smart thing that you did, whether intentional or not. My question is about sort of the design and size variability of how you've sort of implemented your design and your vision. I think that it's a really nice concept to have use the body for something other than just being a weight on your wrist, which is the problem that you were trying to solve in part. And the idea of using the hip and area around the hip as essentially a resting point for some of that load is a really nice one. My question is, have you thought about in an aging population who may be able to benefit from this kind of technology, how would that design need to change, particularly in women who, let's face it, we don't want to have broken hips in older women in particular. So how do the biomechanics of aging, or for that matter, the biomechanics of a pediatric population who might be able to use some of this, change the design itself, or is it simply a sizing mechanism? Have you thought about that, and what is your solution?
So the goal is, with an original crutch, you're supposed to keep it 3 inches under the underarm, and right now, if it was sized a little bit taller for Frankie, it would be sitting right at that 3-inch mark underneath. So that is where all orthopedic surgeons recommend that patients put the crutch. And our goal is to have adjustability not only in the long part of the tube, but also in the forearm and in the side contact piece. So we offer more adjustability than the traditional crutch, and something that's important to emergency room physicians is to get it to their patients quickly. And with our push pin, it's much easier to move it up and down and get it sized right for the patient than this cumbersome device that has 3 or 4 different ways of adjustability with even screws that take a very long time.
We only have a few more seconds for one more question. Baruz or Guy, do you have one?
I can go and ask one. I had an operation a few years ago, less than 5,000 years ago, and the hospital gave me the crutch, and quite frankly, it was whatever they get from either recommended by insurance, they get them in bulk and all that. So really the channel to the hospitals and the cost, can you talk about how the cost compares and how you guys be selling this?
Yeah, so the traditional crutch typically wholesales to a hospital around $15, and the reimbursement value for that is somewhere between $35 and $45 depending on the insurance. And our crutch actually falls under a forearm crutch. So if we wholesale this for $50, which is the price that was on our letters of interest, they would receive a reimbursement from $70 to $80 on it. So their margin actually gets better.
Great. Thank you. Very well asked, very well answered. Thank you, Team Better Walk. Now I will take a short walk over to Bahara and find out whom she's got. Bahara?
Faith, I'm actually here with Samira Omar, who is a friend of Team Better Walk. So Samira, are these guys really that great of athletes? I mean, is this where this all came from?
Well, I don't know about the other guys, but I know Partha is. I mean, this guy is crazy. If he is not at the gym, then he's working on his startup. But every time I see him, oh, I'm running to the gym. I'm running to the gym. 3 hours, 4 hours, running to the gym. So.
Well, apparently the running and the gym paid off. I mean, here he is on stage, hopefully winning this Inventure Prize. So why do you think they should win?
First of all, I have never met guys that are as passionate as they are, and I think it's so incredible, like they were mentioning, that this is something that has existed for thousands of years, right? And they're just changing it in a little way that with like drastic kind of implications. And hey, I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? Like he'll find a wife that way, you know.
So you think the $20,000 will find him a wife?
Hopefully, yeah.
Anything can happen. All right, if you agree with Samira as well and think that Team Better Walk is a team to win in Venture, make sure to text Better Walk to 22333. Faith, wives are in the picture now. It's fair game.
That was a bit of a retrograde endorsement, but that's hilarious. As you can tell, I don't think you'll find a wife at Tech. I think the young ladies here will make their own money. As you can tell, all of our finalists have done a lot of hard work to make it to this stage this evening, and that hard work is supported by the amazing resources available here at Georgia Tech. In fact, all Georgia Tech students, even those who are not a part of this competition, have free access to something called the Invention Studio. It's a place that has every tool and machine you'd ever need to take an idea from your head and turn it into a reality in your hand. And it's thanks to facilities like this that our finalists tonight were able to overcome countless hurdles on their road to the Inventure Prize. What other hurdles were there, you ask? Great question. Here's your answer.
The road to the 2014 Inventure Prize began last summer when 560 students across 23 disciplines signed up for the competition, the largest numbers ever.
Thank you for everybody for coming out.
Throughout the fall, they were offered a series of workshops on everything from intellectual property to how to make a pitch, including a chance to meet with former finalists and special guests to get their advice.
If you have a good story, it's going to be very powerful for your pitch.
I'd wish I'd talked to more potential customers.
The thing that happens when you talk to people about your idea is that you really get a lot of feedback and input.
And the crowning event of the fall was Georgia Tech's annual Capstone Design Expo.
Hi, we're Team Foam Tech, and we've created a system here to organize all of your drawers.
We're the Smooth Drainers, and our product is the EverDrain.
The point of this was nobody really likes yard work.
Where 130 teams, including Inventure Prize entrants, showcased their design projects.
Team Breathe Easy.
We're Team MobaHip.
Our team name is String Engineers.
And that's where the judges got really busy, handing out 30 golden tickets to select teams.
What we'd like to present to you is a golden ticket,
offering them a fast track to the semifinals. Meanwhile, the numbers were whittled down to 156 students, as other teams struggled to get their inventions ready for the preliminary round.
It's not functional.
And that's where teams gave it all they had to convince the 90 judges that they deserve to be in the semifinals.
Hi, we're Team Render, and we're a game that helps kids stay calm while they get x-rays.
I've invented a way to help reduce concussions in football.
We're Team Broco, and we've revolutionized snowboarding.
And those who passed the test received an added incentive, a Flashpoint workshop where they faced their toughest critics yet.
Whenever anyone asks you a question like this, the right answer isn't the answer. For all I know, those aren't real problems. You just made those up. The trick to this is you do this 1,000 times, it gets a lot better.
And the semifinal round wasn't any easier.
You guys are serious competitors here. We want to take you seriously.
I think this is really cool, but I have no idea what it is.
You need to bring this into reality.
But it was also at the semifinals that some teams really began to shine.
You got something here, guys. This is interesting.
Giving 6 of them the momentum they needed to make it to the finals.
You got a freaking killer idea.
And onto our stage tonight.
Which is great.
Leaving just one question unanswered. Who will win the 2014 Inventure Prize?
I think it's pretty safe to say that I've got the easy job tonight. So let's meet some more of the people doing all that heavy lifting.
Hi, I'm Erin Cobb.
Hi, I'm Brandy Banner. And I'm Jasmine Burton, and we are
Team Sanovation.
Currently, there are 2.6 billion people in the world that do not have access to a hygienic means of going to the restroom. In the developing world, the current system for using the bathroom is pit latrines. Pit latrines are not a sustainable system. They're used for about 5 years, and then once they're full, they're just covered up.
Our Sofichew system is a safer, cleaner, more hygienic way of using the restroom.
My interest in this project sparked from me living in Kenya 2 summers ago. 2 years ago at the Georgia Tech Women's Leadership Conference, I was inspired to do something about the toilet crisis in our world, and since then I've been really passionate about sanitation.
We began just by really delving into some serious research for about 5 to 10 weeks, moving forward into testing prototypes, sketch prototypes, and then finally through the whole production phase, and you can see the final prototype on stage tonight.
And let's face it, everybody poops.
See that coming. Anybody else? In all seriousness, this is a very real global concern. So let's get the scoop from Team Sanovation.
Sanitation is a story that is often untold. It tends to be the elephant in the room in conversations about global issues because of cultural taboos and disgust, when in reality, everybody poops. My name is Jasmine Burton, and I'm joined by Erin Cobb and Brandy Banner, and we are here tonight to talk dirty. If you know right now where the closest bathroom is, then you are among the world's privileged half that has continual access to a toilet, because 2.6 billion people in the world do not have access to their basic sanitation needs and are expected to use these unsustainable pit latrines. According to the World Health Organization, water, sanitation, and hygiene-related diseases cost the world approximately $260 billion, but more importantly, over 1 million children's lives every year. This means that over 4,000 children are dying because of preventable wash-related diseases every single day. We are Team Sanovation, and we are bringing innovation to sanitation. We've designed an inexpensive mobile sanitation solution intended to reduce oral fecal contamination and the spread of wash-related diseases. It is my pleasure to introduce Sofichew. As I walk through the Sofichew system, Erin has so graciously volunteered to model it for us. So if you can imagine, this prototype on the ground would be elevated on this 2-foot-tall structure above ground with this 3-part drawer system beneath it. The user would walk up a ramp, walk over the device, and sit or squat on top of the device. She will then open the smell flap, which reduces the prevalence of disease-carrying flies and the odor. The seat has 2 holes that separates urine and fecal matter. The separation of waste is further amplified in this drawer system, where solid wastes are collected in the top drawer, liquefied wastes are collected in the middle drawer, and used anal cleansing water is collected in the 3rd drawer. This filtration is really important because it decreases the concentration of contaminants in the waste. So then she reaches back and she uses the manual bidet, which reduces the need for the users to wipe with their hands, which is a common and current practice around the world. She will then close the smell flap, and then now she has completed a hygienic sanitation process. We have presented the Sofichew to the CDC and to the Norwegian Refugee Council and received their support in piloting our design.
I'm Dr. Team lead for the Global Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene team at the Centers for Disease Control, CDC. Sanitation is a real public health problem throughout the developing world, and I fully support the efforts of Team Sanovation to develop new tools that will help people gain access to safe and improved sanitation. Thank you.
My name is Yuriaman Alex. I work for Norwegian Refugee Council, Kakuma, and I support Team Sanovation.
If we receive funding, we will be able to go out into the field, beginning in Kenya, to work with CDC researchers to pilot and refine our design. We were also featured on the CDC website on World Water Day a few weeks ago because of Safi Chew's novelty. At the end of the day, access to sanitation is a basic human right that too many people around the world have been denied. Because of the low cost, the sustainable design, and the intentional reduction of oral fecal contamination, Safi Chew has the potential to save millions of lives. We are Team Sanovation, and we believe in Safi Chew. And now the question is, do you? Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Statistics, and I think maybe Team Sanovation wins the Maturity Award for how they handle this somewhat taboo subject. So let's see how our judges do with this subject.
So I'll lead us off with this one. Very impressive and truly a noble cause, so really commend you for tackling this one. Talk a little bit about how you plan to deploy this. You know, countries like Kenya and Somalia, the per capita income is about $250, $300. If this costs anywhere, you know, close to that, is, you know, do you plan to take this into individual homes, or how do you think that distribution is going to go? And also, if you can talk a little bit about the rest of the process, how it gets disposed and who does that, that would be great.
Okay, so we plan to start in the Kakuma refugee camp, and they've been doing a lot of sanitation studies there. And so basically, in terms of sanitation maintenance, right now they're having people come in and service the pit latrines that they have right now. But it's really not sanitary at all, so they're just carrying around pretty much buckets of poop, which is, you know, not very sanitary. So our system allows them to just have the drawers, and so you can just pull out the drawers and then you can treat the drawers in different ways. So that would be that. In terms of cost, Safi Chew right now would be approximately $100, but we are working to lower that price so it's more affordable. It is a household toilet, and so it would be for about 5 to 6 people. That's the measurements that we use for our design. So that's currently what we're working with, and hopefully when we get to Kenya, we can test our product to see if it's something that the people see themselves using.
So I know in a lot of developing countries, there's a real reluctance to adopt new technology, and this would be technology to them. So I'm wondering, have you tested it? Have you discussed this with, I mean, obviously you have some very strong references there, but, you know, are there people in the market that you've tested this with that, you know, said they would use this and it's something that, you know, is not going to go against their cultural norms?
Right. So we have been in contact with a lot of people in Kenya, and we've conducted a series of Skype interviews and conversations with them just about what their needs are, what they would like to see changed in their sanitation systems. And so that's really what we use to design our product. And so we've done as much as we can do from being in America. So this is kind of where we need to go over there and see if, you know, if it's intuitive for them or if it's something that they actually value or something that they can see themselves using every day. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Congratulations. Now, if you think you've heard, sorry, I don't want to step on your applause. There you go. I think it's safe to say this is the first time that there have been signs held up in this auditorium that say everybody poops. That's what I'm seeing from the stage. If you think you've heard enough about this topic, I'm going to have to correct you because you'll want to hear what Bahara's special guest has to say about Team Sanovation. Bahara, please tell us who you're with.
Well, Faith, not only are we with a mature team, but a very creative team as well. I found a plunger. Isn't that nice? So I'm here with Courtney and Lane, who are sisters of the team members. So tell me, how dirty did it really get?
It got pretty dirty pretty quickly. They were used to spending hours a day in the lab talking about poop and sanitation and filtration, and Jasmine would come home when we'd have family dinners and just continue with that conversation and think that we were all used to it, and we weren't. But we got used to it pretty quickly, and we all support her, and we're really proud.
It must have been really appetizing. It's like, yes, I'd like to know how much poop you looked at today. Yes. So did you ever walk in on your sister with a very weird stance in the bathroom, trying to perfect the squat?
There were a few times. I'm kidding, but I think these girls, there's a rumor around men that women don't poop, and these girls have showed that Not only do they poop, but Georgia Tech girls can create sanitation systems that are going to change the world. So pretty incredible.
Absolutely. You know, Faith, a few years ago, I was in the audience where someone told me that there are no girls at Georgia Tech. Hello, all girls team, pooping, classy, all of it all together. Seriously. All right. If you think Team Sanovation should win and agree here, we're going to do a little plunger pump here. If you think Team Sanovation should win, make sure to text Sanovation to 22333. Back to you, Faith.
This is clearly a new wave of feminism. Thank you, Bahara. Moving ahead now, I'd certainly be willing to bet that none of our finalists has been getting a lot of sleep in recent weeks, but that doesn't mean that this next team doesn't know the importance of a good night's rest, as you'll see here.
Hi, I'm Saranya Karthikeyan.
I'm Jerry Sabuakel. I'm Michael Duke.
And I'm Darshika Patel, and we're Team Lights Out.
Sleep apnea is a sleeping disorder where excess fatty tissue in the throat prevent a person from being able to breathe while they sleep at night. 18 million Americans suffer from this disorder, as do the people who are sharing a bed with them.
Current solutions to sleep apnea are either costly, invasive, or completely ineffective.
We went through dozens of different iterations on our design before we finally found something that worked.
We met a lot with different individuals who have a lot of different expertise, such as working with the Emory Sleep Center. Our big breakthrough moment was talking to patients, showing them design, and they told us that this would work for them, that something that's this easy to use for them, that's not complex, is exactly what they need. How we sleep affects how we live. This solution looks to bring everyone closer to a good night's sleep. Team Lights Out, we believe in a good night's sleep.
And I believe in a good night's sleep as well, if I could just roll over. But enough about me. Let's meet Team Lights Out.
How many of us have ever heard someone snore like that every day? Someone who's tired, grumpy, irritable. Sleep loss due to snoring affects about 1 in 20 million Americans every single day. These people, they suffer from obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. OSA is a sleeping disorder where excess fatty tissue in the throat prevents you from breathing properly while sleeping. It can lead to heart disease, oxygen deprivation to the brain, and even sudden death. But these aren't the only people at risk. What about the person sleeping next to them? They're also not getting the sleep that they deserve. That brings it to 1 in 10 Americans affected directly by OSA.
OSA and its symptoms are most common, such as snoring, are most common when a person is sleeping on their back. Did you know that just changing a person's sleeping position from on their back to on their side is enough to reduce these symptoms by 60%? According to studies done by institutions like the University of Calgary, a 45-degree shift from on your back is enough to witness this kind of symptoms reduction. The solution seems so simple, but why doesn't it exist yet?
This is why we at Team Lights Out have used this knowledge to create Sleepwell sleepwear. This is a t-shirt which can be worn at night, and what it does, it has sensors on the back that detect when a person is sleeping on their back. So once activated, the air bladder looking on the back of the t-shirt starts to slowly fill with air and gently raises the user to a slight 45-degree angle until they're on their side. Once they can support their weight, the device deactivates and deflates, which allows the user a full range of motion. It reduces apneic and snoring symptoms before they even begin by keeping you on your side. It's slow, it's effective, and it gets the job done.
Current treatment options include the CPAP machine, which is the market gold standard. The CPAP machine involves wearing an unattractive and uncomfortable mask strapped to your face every single night. Another option is to undergo invasive surgeries to get dental implants. Or you can even buy specialized pillows that restrict your movement while you're sleeping. These solutions are all effective, but patient compliance for them is really low due to the fact that they are costly, unattractive, and uncomfortable. I mean, Michael, how does that mask feel for you?
It's terrible.
Terrible? That's what I thought. Sleepwell sleepwear has successfully tackled all of these problems. It provides its users with a full range of motion while they are sleeping and has a gel foam layer for added comfort, making sure that quality of sleep is not disturbed. It can be purchased for half the price of the cheapest CPAP machine currently on the market. And, did I mention, it's a t-shirt. It fits TSA regulations, meaning you can take it anywhere that you need to go.
Sleepwell Sleepwear, it's a device with so much potential for success. We have 7 patients who have already agreed to test try this product for us. This is why we've reached out to the Global Center for Medical Innovation, as well as the Emory Sleep Center, to help us with manufacturing as well as clinical testing. And as we move forward, we need further funding to help us pursue these endeavors and bring our goal of bringing lights out to everyone true. After all, how we sleep, it affects how we live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to volunteer my husband to be one of your subjects right now. Did I hear you use the words air bladder? It sounds like a great name for a garage band. I love it. Now, time to turn our attention to 3 people who never sleep, as far as we know. Our honorable judges, you're on.
So I'll start. Congratulations for trying to take on an incredibly serious problem in the U.S. It's a growing one, and the cognitive deficit of chronic OSA we're becoming to realize are very serious as a country. My question is about patient targeting and how you're thinking about your distribution model. You mentioned the Emory Sleep Center, and so one of the easiest target patient populations for you may in fact be somebody who's been on CPAP for a year, because 50% of those patients aren't going to be on it after another year. The challenge with that patient population, and you already talked about some of the reasons why compliance is such a problem in that population, the challenge is they get lost in the system. Most of them do not ever go back into a sleep physician's office again. They end up being managed by their primary care physician for the other sort of comorbidities that are going along with their OSA. Once you're trying to target patients in primary care, it's very difficult. I can tell you, because that's one of the things that I do every day. Because it is a sea of humanity in primary care with a lot of people with a lot of different problems, and patient selection becomes very difficult to match the right patients to the right new technologies. Have you thought about that, and or have you thought about another target patient population besides current CPAP users that are no longer compliant? How are you thinking about that?
To answer your question, our target demographic would be people who are over the age of 20, under the age of 55, less than 300 pounds. Those are the people that positional therapy has been shown to be truly effective with. As far as getting people to the device and vice versa, we have a couple of different marketing campaigns that we're already starting on. The clip everyone saw at the beginning of the presentation was actually from one of those campaigns. There are several other videos that we'd launch. We'd want this to be a device that the user goes into the doctor saying, I want to try this, not necessarily the doctor prescribing the user.
I'm looking at it, and it looks obviously a lot more comfortable than the mask. That's very clear. Is it self-contained, and how is it made of plastic? How different from the prototype or the final product? How different do you anticipate it being?
We're still playing around with fabric, and we're also going to be adding a quick connect device to it, so you can unplug yourself from the air pump. But what you see right now is actually a device which is put into a zipper pocket on the back of the shirt. So you have something that can be taken out of a shirt, you can put on a different shirt, you can switch different shirts, wash them. The gel layer is on top of the air bladder, so you don't feel the plastic which is underneath it, which is what the tubes are made of.
So like in the middle of summer, when you're sweltering, you're not going to kind of sweat out through the t-shirt?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't normally sleep in a shirt, then it might be a little bit uncomfortable for you to wear, but we're playing with different fabrics, like I said, to try to fix that problem.
Okay.
Maybe we're moving into like an Under Armour sort of compression shirt fabric next.
And the thing is, with the fact that it is a gel memory foam layer, there's memory foam and there is gel. The gel, even in traditional pillows that have gel, it has cooling effects.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, of course, I don't have a snoring problem, no matter how much my wife complains. But if I were to get one, what do you anticipate the cost is going to be at the end product by the time you're done with all the prototyping, getting out into market? What is your cost, and what do you think it's going to sell for?
So right now, like I said, we're playing with the different materials, and so it's still kind of variable. What we've seen so far is we can produce about 50 of these devices for $70 a device. And that's going through manufacturing for the board, the shirt, and the pneumatic system all separately, and then assembling it together. So we'd probably market it at around $150 to $200, but we can go up or down with that.
Team Lights Out, I'm sure there are millions of Americans that say thank you. Bahara, I understand you're with someone who can shed a little more light on our friends at Team Lights Out, if that's not some kind of an oxymoron.
Faith, for sure. I'm here with Victoria Stefanelli, who's actually a teaching assistant for the team. So tell me, Victoria, where did, I know that Georgia Tech students are sleep deprived, but not from sleep apnea or perhaps snoring, but where did the inspiration come from for the team?
Well, the inspiration originally came from the Emory Sleep Clinic. However, as really hardworking and I'm sure sleep-deprived college students, it was an idea that really resonated strongly with these team members.
Yeah, I completely understand. I think it'll not only help, obviously, snoring, but also probably save a lot of marriages. So if you agree with Victoria as well and think that Team Lights Out should win, make sure to text Lights Out to 22333, and you can go online and vote. Faith, I personally think that I know someone who can benefit from this, my father. So Dad, start texting when it's open. All right, back to you.
And let's give them a proper round of applause. As we mentioned earlier, more than 500 students originally signed up for the Inventure Prize competition last fall. And while everyone can't make the finals, there were a lot of teams and inventions that we believe are more than worthy of some time on TV. And who knows, with a tweak or two to their ideas, they could be on this stage 1 year from now. So, to them we say, maybe next year.
I'm a rocket scientist, and I've invented a way to ensure that your car never gets a dead battery ever again.
And we've invented a way to make bartenders' lives easier.
The lightning level is going to save the world.
It's just wonderful.
We're bringing video game technology to the soldiers.
We're going to make a microscopic robot that goes into your bloodstream and then fight cancer.
A portable device that will allow you to charge your phone on the go just by shaking it.
You will never have to iron again.
You're doing the exact right thing.
Industrial design is hard.
We have an innovative device that will solve a lot of the problems in the cardiology field.
And I've reinvented the whiteboard eraser to save your wallet, your whiteboard, and the environment.
It's hard to get behind something that is a promise right now.
We've been working on this idea for approximately 6 months.
I've probably put 5 years into this.
I've been working on this for approximately 48 hours.
We applaud you on that effort.
We came up with this idea mainly from our own frustration with grocery shopping.
I'm going to win this year's Inventure Prize because I am innovative and charismatic.
It's been a long day.
You guys could be in a position to come back next year and crush it.
Microscopic robots that go into your bloodstream to fight cancer? It's amazing. I also like the idea of never having to iron again. I guess the Inventure Prize judges in the early rounds just didn't think those teams were ready for the real world. Fortunately, they think our next team is. See if you agree.
Hi, I'm Rachel Ford.
I'm Esteban Ongini.
And I'm Will McAllister, and we are Team Susette.
We're all biomedical engineers, and together in our device design class, we picked a pacifier to optimize as our device, and we started realizing that there's so many problems going on with them, and mothers have no clue. So we needed a name for our product, and we picked Susette because it means pacifier in French, and it sounds very mother-friendly, baby-friendly, and like a higher-end item. We did a lot of literature searching into journal articles and medical articles that we could read concerning them that aren't published to parents, and then we went through multiple rounds of prototyping for our device.
The prototyping process was pretty tough for us. We had lots of problems along the way with the silicone, making the molds, making the pacifiers in general, getting it to look quite right.
Stuff that didn't even look like pacifiers, crumbly silicone.
Sticky silicones.
Our breakthrough moment for the prototype came when we finalized all of the CAD and SolidWorks models, and we took them to people that actually will make them look real in real life, and we're very ready to unveil our prototypes at Inventure.
Sure if I'm hosting a show or attending a baby shower, but I'm totally fine with either one. Put your hands together for Team Susette.
Pacifiers
Pacifiers are the universal off buttons for crying infants. Hence, about 60% of American parents use them in the United States. Yes, you get to try them. Here you go. If you want to stick them in your mouth like they're doing, that's fine. The most commonly sold pacifier in today's marketplace is the orthodontic pacifier, which implies that it is better for your children's growing dentition. However, what pacifier companies don't include on the packaging are the 60 years worth of medical studies that relate pacifier usage with over 15 different types of dental, skeletal, and speech deformities in children. When we saw this stack of literature, we knew that we had to make a difference. My name is Rachel Ford, this is Esteban Angini and Will McAllister. Together we're Susette, and we're bringing the pacifier into the 21st century. Pacifier use past the teething stage is associated with a 33 times increase in malocclusion in children, resulting in your kids' teeth looking something like this. I would never want my kids' teeth looked like that. What Susette does is take the shaft portion of the pacifier and decrease it, allowing the jaws to come in at a more natural angle and the teeth to descend in a more natural form. Pacifiers are also associated with many different permanent skeletal deformities in kids, decreasing the size of the overall oral cavity and making the jawline more obtuse, resulting in what's called long face syndrome, as you can see behind me. Yet again, not what I would want my child to have. Also, if you can imagine holding your thumb up and comparing it to the size of a normal pacifier, they match pretty well. Now imagine having to learn how to speak and swallow with your thumb in your mouth the entire time. It'd be pretty hard. So what Susette does is take the pacifier and make it a unique difference and have a branch design with an inner curvature, allowing the tongue to lie in the middle of the mouth instead of being constantly depressed, supporting the oral arches, allowing proper skeletal growth, and allowing for proper tongue technique, thereby decreasing speech defects in infants.
I used a pacifier until I was 3, and I did speech therapy for 5 years and braces after that. My story's not alone.
4 million people in the United States 4 million people in the United States need braces because of what pacifiers did to them, and about 2 out of every first grade class need speech therapy for the same reason, and you don't want your kids to be another one of these statistics. Pacifiers in the next year are forecasted to bring in $143 million worth of revenue. And considering that 1.5 to 2.5 million American infants will try a pacifier next year, Susette definitely has a place in the market. We've got a quote from Novatex, the largest pacifier manufacturer in the United States, to produce, package, and distribute our product for $1.50. We're also talking to different pacifier and high-end baby retailers across the Southeast, many of which who have expressed high interest in selling our products in their stores. We've also contacted the Georgia Regent University's dental program, and we wish to conduct joint studies with them to help support the claims we make with our pacifier. And we hope to use the money from Winning in Venture to do this. Parents love it, and professionals support it. Let's hear what Dr. Miro has to say.
I would recommend the Susette pacifier to my patients over other pacifier currently on the market due to its innovative shape and improved fit.
We've removed the bulk from the orthodontic pacifier, transforming it into the Susette Smart Soother. We're not telling you to go home and throw out your child's pacifier.
To be fair to the other teams, and I don't want to have to put a pacifier in your mouth. So we will thank you so we can get to your questions. Thank you, Team Susette. Obviously, there's some irony in having a team in the finals whose invention actually sucks. But we'll let the judges sort that out. What do you guys think of this?
Well, I think it's a great industrial design. Mine had a hint of cinnamon, really good tasting, so I appreciate it, you know. But my question is, it's a great industrial design, but the barrier of entry is pretty low. I mean, if it makes it into the market and successful, people are going to jump in and be able to compete with you. How do you deal with that? Have you guys thought about that?
We've already filed our provisional patent that it is a utility patent and not a design patent, so that we have patented or hope to patent the inner curvature, which is our unique difference from the pacifiers, and nothing in the prior art has that already. And including the shaft dimensions have been decreased, and we haven't listed explicitly our measurements in the provisional patent. We've given a range and a difference in radiuses so that nobody could really copy the exact measurements or scale it up by a magnitude or a factor and copy it.
So I've always assumed that babies use pacifiers because it resembled a nipple. this doesn't look like a nipple, any nipple I've ever seen. So I'm just curious.
Guy doesn't get out much.
I just moved back to Atlanta, so maybe that's something new. So I'm just curious, how do you transition, or how do you know that babies will actually like this design?
So actually, Caroline, our model, back in the picture right there, she was the last person we tested the baby pacifier on, and her mom literally had to yank it out of her mouth. She did not want to give it up, because her mom said that the current designs on the market are very big, bulky, cumbersome, and right now her teeth are just starting to come in. She's around 10.5 months, and she really likes the thinness, the curvature, like the way it can sit and fit better in the child's mouth.
Deborah?
You might want to try the aftermarket of the rave population attendees, because you can make flavors of it. Just a side comment to keep your margins up. That's it.
No questions?
No, no questions.
You did point out that sucette is a French word, right, for pacifier. I'm sure you also know that in England they call them dummies. So did you ever consider calling yourself Team Dummy?
It always came up, but you know, you go with what you can find.
Yeah, I think you guys made the right choice. Congratulations, Team Sucette.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we saw little Caroline, but I understand no babies were available to be interviewed for Team Sucette. So Bahara has found someone even better. Bahara?
Yes, I have, Faith. I haven't found a baby, but I found Rajashar, who is actually the teacher for Team Suzette's class. So how many prototypes did you see in class?
Had to have seen dozens of them. We even saw a chocolate pacifier. When one of their presentations, they were showing as they were testing out some of the modeling and casting, they were really having trouble with the silicone, as you could see in the video clip. And so they decided to try it with chocolate, and they had it passed out to a couple of kids. And we asked, where are the chocolate ones for us? And they go, well, we got you guys Ring Pops instead. So that was a great presentation.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all. But you still support him?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm also supporting Team Better Walk, just so you know.
So split decision here. All right. So if you also agree with Raja here and want to support Team Sucette, make sure to text Sucette to 22333. Faith, there must be a conspiracy here. Pacifiers, strollers, what's going on? You had something to do with this, didn't you?
I think this is my year. Yeah, I know what I have to register for. And I'm thinking of naming my daughter Sucette. It has a je ne sais quoi, doesn't it? All right. 5 teams have gone, 1 team is left to go. And in the music world, they would call this act the headliner. So we will too. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Ian McKenzie with Guitar Guys. Learning to play the guitar can be a frustrating experience for beginning musicians. Reading sheet music and translating that to the fretboard on a guitar is a frustration that causes many beginning guitar players to walk away from the instrument for good. The Enlightened Music Trainer was an idea that I had when I first started learning to play guitar at about the age of 13. We began with diagrams, sketches, brainstorming, whatever we could think of we brought to the table. Then we moved on to mock-ups using paper strips and other crude materials. I started working on LEDs, Garrett on the harness, Jacob on the circuitry, and Richie on the programming. After roughly a dozen or so iterations, we were able to come up with a design that far surpassed anything we had hoped to achieve. Winning this year's Inventure Prize would fund the necessary electronics testing and pave the path that we need to take in order to bring the Enlightened Music Trainer to market.
Hi everyone, I'm Richie Choi. This is Garrett Wade, Jake Howard, and Ian McKenzie. We're the Guitar Guys. As engineers and musicians, we understand how difficult it can be to learn a new instrument. You can spend hundreds of hours searching online for new material, or thousands of dollars on lessons. In the end, it can just be too intimidating to even try. With the Enlightened Music Trainer, we're here to tell you that literally anyone can learn how to play guitar. We've placed lights along the guitar, rows of lights, so that it'll tell you exactly where you need to know where to play. And instead of 120 finger positions here, all you have to do is follow the lights. It's as easy as playing a game. And we've added features to make it more simple. You can slow it down so that you can go at your own pace. Play songs and chords so that you can learn the fundamentals. And, of course, you can play your favorite songs. All you have to do is drag and drop onto an SD card. And the Enlighten Music Trainer will do the rest of the work for you. But our favorite feature is that it's modular. Modular means that it'll fit nearly on any guitar, something you find in your attic or your favorite guitar. The idea is to learn with it on and play with it off. We think this gives us a huge competitive advantage. In our market, competitors are trying to carve into guitars and put lights in there. These solutions can be bulky and anywhere from $400 to $1,000. A beginner doesn't want that. They want something cost-effective, modular, and also lasting. So that's why we've come up with the Enlighten Music Trainer. It's a learning platform. So the Guitar Trainer is our first product. It's our first thought. And we plan to do our online press release through the largest guitar magazine in the world. And they've come to us for an aggressive online marketing campaign. But that's just a start. We want to go to other instruments. In the future, we want the violin trainer. We want the piano trainer and the cello trainer, and so on, so that we can reach across different markets one at a time and introduce people to their favorite instruments. So tonight, I'm happy to say that we have our second instrument already developed. It's called the bass trainer. Let's see how it works. Finally, music is amazing. It's stimulating. On top of that, it's just plain fun. It shouldn't be this tedious and intimidating process. The Enlighten Music Trainer is going to revolutionize the way we learn instruments. We put your favorite songs on your fingertips so that you can be creative and express yourself.
Thank you, Team Guitar Guys. This is not a bad gig for you guys. I do have a few questions, like why didn't you play the Georgia Tech fight song? I don't know. Let's see. More importantly, let's see what the judges have to ask.
I'm a big Rick James fan, so I really love the rendition there. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm curious, you said drag and drop. So, is it software reading an MP3 or kind of a standard music file, or is it a new file that you guys have created?
So it's not an MP3. It would be a standardized music format. So over the past decades, guitarists are offering music online and offering it for free. And really what you would do is just find a standardized format, and our software will parse it for you.
So I'm curious about your distribution model. You mentioned an advertising campaign focused to readers of guitar trade mags, basically. Are you thinking a purely direct-to-consumer distribution channel, or would you go through guitar stores, or educate me about how that affects how this could take off and how quickly it could grow?
So on the store owner side, they've received it very well. We've been to guitar stores from Georgia all the way to Virginia. And the owners say that they actually really like it. People come in and they're looking for learning tools under $150, and with that feedback, we're offering it at $100. And also, I think our main thing would be to do an online store, and we've gotten great feedback that that would be really well received by advanced players and also beginners.
Farouz?
So going back to the question that Guy asked, are you saying that the content is either open source? You don't have to license the content at all?
Right. So we're taking advantage of these open resources and these giant databases.
Okay. How big is the market, do you anticipate?
So for guitar, we're talking $1 billion, and $650 million is for entry-level guitars. So guitars under $200, and that's really who we're targeting for the current players. And we hope that people will pick it up also. So the market outside of that might be more explosive.
Great. And is there any feedback loop to see kind of how you've done playing the song?
We're working on a detection method so that we can get feedback and work on more powerful features. And that's really why we we need the resources from the Inventure Prize so that we can develop corrective learning methods.
Great, you guys, you have a bunch of groupies backstage waiting for you. So, so let's give it up for Team Guitar Guys. See whom Bahara has standing by. Let's give the judges all the time we can by releasing them to begin their deliberations. We've seen 6 very impressive teams, so I know they're going to need every second they can get. Good luck, guys and lady. And while our judges make their way to a predetermined top secret bunker located roughly 20 feet away, I'll ask the lovely Bahara to introduce us to someone who was instrumental in Team Guitar Guy's invention.
Faith, she was indeed instrumental. This is Michelle, Ian's wife. I heard that you played an extremely big role in this invention. What did you do?
I did. I pulled all-nighters, soldering wires. I designed the logo. But I think the most important thing is I'm completely guitar ignorant, so I made a great guinea pig.
No way. So you actually learned how to play?
I did. I actually played my first scale.
Well, I guess the most important question is, if they're going to win tonight, what are you guys going to do to celebrate?
The first thing we're going to do is clean up all of the prototype mess all around the house. It's covering everything, but then he's gonna take me to a nice dinner.
A nice dinner, nice vacation more like.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, here you go. If you think that Guitar Guys should win, make sure to text Guitar Guys to 22333. Thanks, Michelle, for joining us. Good luck to all the teams tonight. And now that our final team has presented their invention, I'm happy to say that the voting for the People's Choice Award is officially open. So while the judges continue to deliberate, here's what you should be doing. The audience is doing it already. If you want to vote for Team Upsadaisy for the People's Choice Award, make sure to text Upsadaisy to 22333. For Better Walk Crutch, text Better Walk to that same number. If you are a big fan of Team Sanovation, the word is Sanovation. If you like Team Lights Out and their Sleep Well sleepwear, then text Lights Out to 22333. If Team Suzette is your choice, make sure to text Suzette to that same number. And if you think that Team Guitar Guys should win, then text Guitar Guys to 22333. Make sure you get the spelling right. You can only text, so do it now. You can only vote once on any device. The window is open now. We'll have results for you in just a few minutes. Faith, let's keep rocking on.
Oh, hi. I wasn't voting. I'm the host. That wouldn't be right. I was just, I was timing my contractions, and I think we're going to make it. All right. Now then, whether you're one of our finalists waiting ever so calmly backstage, or you're someone who appeared in our Maybe Next Year video, the Inventure Prize can still do some wonderful things for you. To prove my point, I want to give you an update on what's happening for some former Inventure Prize contestants in a piece called Where Are They Now?
Hi, my name is Melissa McCoy. We entered the Inventure Prize in both 2012 and 2013, and our invention was a mechanical device that sits below a helicopter to quickly deploy water pipeline.
My name is James Molini.
My name is Patrick Caputo. Our invention was called the ENZI. It's a low-cost backup power supply, helps alleviate power outages throughout the world.
Hi, I'm Erica. Our invention was called a NemoCheck, a point-of-care diagnostic test for screening and monitoring anemia. In the 6 months after graduating, we took our submission to Inventure Prize and piloted the technology in Chile in partnership with the Red Cross, and the company is still operating today. After winning second place in the Inventure Prize competition, we've been working with the Global Center for Medical Innovation, and I'm pleased to say we have a prototype that is ready for commercialization.
In the year after the Inventure Prize, we took our invention to India with our startup company, Waste to Watts. We launched a pilot program where we interviewed over 500 customers on the ground, formed partnerships with local businesses, and sold our first products. It was an unbelievable experience. Entrepreneurship changed our lives, and it all started with the Inventure Prize.
The Inventure Prize has been vital in pushing our NemoCheck project forward. With the funding, we were able to prototype with GCMI, and actually through the Inventure Prize, we were able to make contacts and meet new people that are going to help push our project forward. After my experiences at Toll and in my other entrepreneurial endeavors, I realized I needed a stronger technical skill set. So I applied to grad schools this past fall and received a Rhodes Scholarship to study computer science at the University of Oxford.
Ultimately, we'd love to really start a successful company, and that's what we're still continuing to work on, is how do we take what we've learned from our previous ventures and apply that to something new.
I'm very excited to say that the InVimoCheck project will be formed into a company later this year, and it's all thanks to the Inventure Prize at Georgia Tech. We were really able to finish our clinical testing, finish our prototyping, and now we're working on our publication. So once that's done, we'll be forming a company, and we'll be able to make a difference very soon.
It's so amazing. Rhodes Scholars, founders of companies. Yep, the Inventure Prize is helping to show participants what they can do when they set their minds to it. And of course, it's never too early to start that process. So Bahara is standing by with 2 Georgia teachers who are helping to shape the minds of our young people, along with a very special guest. Bahara?
Hi, Faith. Yes, I'm here with Amanda Basket. I don't know if you remember her from last year, and Bill Daly, and the winning K-12 Inventure Challenge team. This is Angelique, Abigail, and Jin Jing. Amanda, I remember speaking with you last year about this K-12 challenge, so tell us, what's the update? And I know it was kind of starting back then, so what's going on now?
We had 2 schools last year. This year we've expanded statewide beyond the metro area, and we had over 244 high school students involved in innovation projects. 16 competed earlier today, and you're about to speak to our winning team.
Over 200, my God, that's amazing. Bill, I know you promote Inventure in your classroom on a daily basis. What does that look like?
It's a wonderful project for my physics classroom. We started off with 15 inventions, and the kids were really passionate about all of them, but we had to narrow it down to 3. And with those 3 inventions, all of the kids kind of jumped on board. We sort of made 3 little businesses out of it. People were doing product development and engineering and marketing, and the kids are really excited about it.
That's fantastic. So, ladies, you won tonight, a women's all-girls team. This is fantastic. Tell us, what was your invention and what problem did it look at?
Okay, well, 1 American every hour dies of melanoma, and so we created the Melanoma app, which is helping diagnose melanoma, connecting users to dermatologists, and so yeah.
That's amazing. All right, so Abigail, what does this mean to you, winning this?
Oh, well, this is a real-life problem, so winning this will prevent so many cases of melanoma.
Absolutely. So the most important question, though, is where are you going to go to college? Georgia Tech, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, yes. We've got them trained well. Amazing. It's just simply amazing to see how far this K-12 Inventure has come in just 1 year. Congratulations to you guys. Of course, all of these efforts would not have been possible without the enormous support from the Betty and Davis Fitzgerald Foundation, and for teachers like yourselves who care enough to make a difference in the lives of children by inspiring them to be the best that they can be. Faith, such great work being done in our schools across the state makes me very, very proud.
Thank you, Bahara. And congratulations to Angelique Johnson, Abigail Rue, and Chin Jing Liu, our K-12 competition winners. And a very, very sincere thank you to Amanda and Bill and all of the teachers across this country, inspiring our young people to accomplish more than they ever thought they could. Now, getting back to business, and lest you forget, our People's Choice Award is still up for grabs. So if you have not yet voted, check out the keywords floating across the bottom of the screen and cast your vote right now. It's not only a great way to award $5 grand to your favorite team, but I also believe it's your civic duty. While you do that, let's use our hidden camera to see how the judge deliberations are going. Oh dear, this is very awkward. They seem so cordial on stage, but I guess all bets are off once they get into that room. Hopefully they can work this out soon. While they do it, it seems my very hardworking friend Bahara has made her way backstage to be with our finalists to see how they're holding up under the pressure. Bahara, how are things backstage?
Very, very good. I am here with Buzz behind me, so I'm so excited, Faith. I'm also here with these nervous and excited contestants. So tell me, Upsa Daisy, how's it going?
It's awesome. So glad to be here.
So you, I can tell, yes. And Lights Out, how did you guys do on stage?
I think us and all the teams did really well. I think it's a tough competition.
Yeah, it is. And you know, the real question is, of course, who do you think Buzz is voting for? Who knows? All right. Well, I think it's fair to say that our 6 finalists are more than nervous, and it's understandably so, with $35,000 on the line. All right, Faith, I think you have some answers for us, so I'm sending it back to you.
Thank you, Bahara. I'm happy to say that while we were with you, Bahara, backstage, the judges apparently ended their shenanigans very quickly and made their way back to their respective seats. I'm glad you were able to set aside all your differences. I won't ask for the results just yet, but I do want to know, what would you say stood out to you tonight in this competition?
I think there were a lot of applications of things that were totally different, just thinking. They were very innovative, designs, and, actually I was really impressed with, just the industrial design of a lot of the things. So there was a lot of advanced thinking, but the fact that they were able to kind of commercialize it, I thought was really, really impressive.
And they took things that we're all used to seeing, crutches, pacifiers, right, and reinvented them, where most people wouldn't even realize that they could use some innovation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Definitely the caliber of the presentations, the pitch, how it was given, just really first class, top tier.
All right, thank you. I know we've got some very anxious finalists backstage, so let's invite all of them to come out one more time so we can announce our results. Good looking. You guys look good too. All right, it's time now for our People's Choice Award, and to help us tonight are 2 students from Georgia Tech's K-12 initiative. Joining me from the audience again is Chin Jing Liu, and let's welcome Xuanbo Pan. These are our 1st and 2nd place K-12 winners. Those are very important. Now, are we ready? All right, the winner of the 2014 Georgia Tech Inventure Prize People's Choice Award and a check for $5,000 is, thank you, Team Sanovation. Congratulations, Team Sanovation, and you dressed to match the award. It looks fetching. What was the hardest part of getting here?
I think Jasmine honestly has taken the lion's share for this one. She has put in so much work, and we're just honestly so thankful to be here, for everyone supporting us. So
and you did all the squatting, so congratulations. Okay. Now it's time for the announcement of our runner-up for the evening, and the winner of this award will not only receive assistance in securing a patent, but they will also receive $10,000 in cash that will go a long ways towards advancing their invention, along with maybe a pizza or 2. Yes, I went to college once. All right, may I have the envelope, please? Thank you. May I give you this one? Thank you. All right, so this is runner-up for the 2014 Georgia Tech Inventure Prize, Team Susette. Congratulations, you guys. Thank you. All right. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. May I have the envelope, please? Thank you. The winner of the 2014 Georgia Tech Inventure Prize is Team Sanovation. Georgia Tech Inventure Prize. Congratulations to Team Sanovation. You got tears in your eyes, as well as all of our finalists. I also want to thank Bahara, our judges, and all the wonderful people at at Georgia Tech, and of course, everyone at Georgia Public Broadcasting. I'm Faith Saley. I had a great time, as did she. We'll see you again next year.
Funding for this program was made possible in part by Intel Corporation, the Betty and Davis Fitzgerald Foundation, the ACC Interinstitutional Academic Collaborative, the Center of Innovation for Manufacturing, the Georgia Tech Research Corporation, and the Georgia Institute of Technology.
There is only one place where great students and advanced technology strike just the right note.
This is a GPB original production.